The stars twinkled in the vast darkness of space. Among them, a massive ship moved silently. Its sleek, dark hull reflected the distant starlight. This was the HSS Thunderbolt, Earth's pride and joy. Captain Jae-sung Kim stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the main screen. He was a tall man with short black hair and a serious face. His blue uniform showed his high rank. "Captain, we're approaching the Galactic Council space station," said Lieutenant Sunmei. She sat at the navigation console, her fingers moving quickly over the controls. Jae-sung nodded. "Good. Slow us down and prepare for docking procedures." The Thunderbolt had been traveling for weeks. It was Earth's first official visit to the Galactic Council. After centuries of thinking they were alone in the universe, humans had finally joined the galactic community. As the ship got closer, they could see the space station. It was huge, like a shining metal flower in space. Ships of all shapes and sizes flew around it. "Look at that," whispered Ensign Minji, her eyes wide. "I've never seen so many alien ships in one place." Jae-sung understood her amazement. Just 5 years ago, humans didn't even know aliens existed. Now, they were part of a galaxy-wide organization with hundreds of species. The radio crackled. "SS Thunderbolt, this is Galactic Council Station Alpha. Please follow the guidance beam to Docking Bay 7. "Understood, Station Alpha," Jae-sung replied. He turned to his crew. "You heard them. Let's show these aliens what human pilots can do." Sunmei skillfully guided the Thunderbolt towards the station. The massive human ship dwarfed many of the alien vessels around it. Jae-sung could see some of them moving away quickly, as if afraid. As they entered the docking bay, Jae-sung felt a mix of pride and worry. The Thunderbolt was a powerful ship, Earth's most advanced creation. But how would it compare to the technology of older, more experienced spacefaring races? The ship settled into place with a gentle thud. Jae-sung let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. "Good job, everyone. Prepare for disembarking." As the crew got ready to leave the ship, Jae-sung thought about their mission. They were here to show that humans deserved a place in the galactic community. It wouldn't be easy. Many council members saw humans as primitive newcomers, barely out of their stone age compared to other species. The airlock hissed open, revealing a group of aliens waiting to greet them. Jae-sung straightened his uniform and stepped forward. The alien in front was tall and thin, with blue skin and large, dark eyes. It spoke in a high, melodious voice. "Welcome to Station Alpha, humans. I am Zorax, Chief Diplomat of the Galactic Council." Jae-sung bowed slightly. "Thank you, Zorax. I'm Captain Jae-sung Kim of the HSS Thunderbolt. We're honored to be here." As they walked through the station, Jae-sung noticed many aliens staring at them. Some looked curious, others seemed afraid or angry. He heard whispers in languages his translator couldn't catch. They entered a large round room. Hundreds of alien representatives sat in tiered seats, like a giant amphitheater. At the center was a raised platform. Zorax gestured to the platform. "Captain Kim, please address the council." Jae-sung swallowed hard and walked to the center. He looked around at the sea of alien faces, took a deep breath, and began to speak. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, I stand before you today representing Earth and all of humanity. We may be new to your community, but we come with open minds and peaceful intentions." As he spoke, Jae-sung could see different reactions from the aliens. Some nodded, others frowned, and a few whispered to their neighbors. "We know we have much to learn," Jae-sung continued. "But we also have much to offer. Humans are curious, inventive, and determined. We've overcome many challenges on our home world, and we're ready to face new ones among the stars." He gestured towards the docking bay where the Thunderbolt waited. "Our ship, the Thunderbolt, is a symbol of what humanity can achieve. We built it not for war, but for exploration and protection. We hope to use it in service of the Galactic Council and for the good of all species." As Jae-sung finished his speech, The room was quiet. Then, slowly, some of the aliens began to applaud. Others remained silent, watching with unreadable expressions. Zorax stepped forward. "Thank you, Captain Kim. The Council will now discuss Earth's position and role within our organization." As Jae-sung left the platform, he knew this was just the beginning. Humanity had taken its first real step into the galactic community. What came next would depend on their actions, their wisdom, and perhaps the power of the Thunderbolt. The future of Earth now rested in the stars and in the decisions of the Galactic Council. 3 weeks had passed since the HSS Thunderbolt arrived at the Galactic Council station. Captain Jae-sung Kim and his crew were still getting used to life among the stars. They spent their days learning about alien cultures and teaching others about Earth. One quiet afternoon, alarms suddenly blared through the ship. Jae-sung rushed to the bridge, his heart pounding. "What's happening?" he asked, looking at the main screen. Lieutenant Sun Mi turned to him, her face worried. "Captain, we're getting a distress call from a nearby Galactic Council outpost." Jae-sung frowned. "Play the message." A scratchy voice filled the bridge. "This is Outpost Zeta 9. We're under attack. Unknown ships, weapons we've never seen. Please, anyone, help us." The message cut off with a burst of static. The bridge was silent for a moment. Jae-sung made his decision quickly. "Set a course for Outpost Zeta 9. Maximum speed." "But sir," said Ensign Minji, "shouldn't we ask the Council for permission first?" Jae-sung shook his head. "There's no time. People need help now." The Thunderbolt shot through space, its powerful engines pushing it faster than any other ship in the sector. As they neared the outpost, they could see the battle. 3 sleek, black ships were firing on a small space station. The station's shields were failing, sparks flying from its damaged sections. "Those aren't any ships I recognize," said Sun Mi, studying the scanner. Jae-sung nodded. "Hail them." After a moment, a face appeared on the screen. The alien had rough, scaly skin and sharp teeth. Its eyes were yellow and angry. "This is Captain Jae-sung Kim of the HSS Thunderbolt. Stop your attack immediately." The alien snarled. "Stay out of this, human. This doesn't concern you. You're attacking a Galactic Council outpost. That concerns everyone," Jae-sung replied firmly. The alien laughed. "Your puny ship doesn't scare us. Leave now or be destroyed with the rest." The transmission cut off. Jae-sung turned to his crew. "Battle stations. Prepare main weapons." The Thunderbolt moved between the attackers and the outpost. Its shield glowed as it absorbed enemy fire. "Sir, their weapons are strong, but our shields are holding," reported Minji. Jae-sung nodded. "Good. Target their weapon systems. Fire when ready." The Thunderbolt's advanced targeting computers locked onto the enemy ships. With pinpoint accuracy, it fired a series of energy pulses. The attacks hit their mark, disabling the weapons on 2 of the 3 ships. The 3rd ship tried to flee, but the Thunderbolt was faster. A tractor beam locked onto it, holding it in place. "We've got them, sir," said Sun Mi, smiling. Jae-sung let out a breath. "Good work, everyone. Contact the outpost and see if they need medical help." As the crew worked to secure the situation, a new transmission came in. It was from the Galactic Council. An alien with bright purple skin appeared on the screen. "Captain Kim, what is the meaning of this? You were not authorized to engage in combat." Jae-sung stood tall. "Council member, we responded to a distress call. The outpost was under attack, and we took action to save lives." The council member's expression changed from anger to surprise. "You saved the outpost?" "Yes, sir. The attackers have been neutralized, and we're providing aid to the outpost now." There was a long pause. Then the council member spoke again, his voice softer. "I see. Well done, Captain. We'll send support ships immediately. Please remain there until they arrive." After the transmission ended, the bridge was quiet. Then Ensign Minji spoke up. "Captain, look." On the screen, they could see ships approaching from the outpost. Small craft piloted by various aliens surrounded the Thunderbolt. But instead of looking angry or scared, the aliens were cheering. Messages flooded the communication channels. "Thank you, humans. You saved us. We didn't think anyone would come." Jae-sung felt a warmth in his chest. This was why they had come into space, not to show off their power, but to help others. As the crew of the Thunderbolt worked to help the outpost and its people, news of their actions spread quickly through the galaxy. The humans, it seemed, were more than just newcomers. They were heroes. But in the shadows of space, Yellow Eyes watched with anger and fear. The battle was over, but a new conflict was just beginning. And the HSS Thunderbolt would be at its center. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with excited chatter. Aliens of all shapes and sizes filled the room. At the center, two council members stood facing each other. On one side was Eunji, a human with long black hair and sharp eyes. On the other was Taeho, a tall alien with blue skin and 4 arms. "The humans have proven themselves," Eunji said, her voice strong. "The Thunderbolt saved lives at great risk to itself. Surely this shows Earth's commitment to the Council." Taeho waved 2 of his hands dismissively. One good deed does not erase centuries of isolation. The humans are still untested, still unknown. As they argued, Captain Jae-sung Kim stood quietly at the back of the room. He felt uncomfortable being the center of so much attention, but he knew this debate was important for Earth's future in space. "But you can't deny their ship's power." Another alien spoke up. This one had green scales and a long tail. "The Thunderbolt defeated 3 Vorax ships easily. No other council race has done that before." A ripple of worried murmurs spread through the crowd. The Vorax were known as dangerous pirates, feared across the galaxy. That humans could beat them so easily was both impressive and scary. Taeho's eyes narrowed. "That is precisely my point. The humans have great power, but can we trust them with it? What if they turn against us?" Eunji shook her head. "That's not fair. Humans came to space to make friends, not enemies. We want to help, not harm." As the debate heated up, a new alien entered the room. This one was tall and thin, with dark purple skin and large, sad eyes. Everyone went quiet as it walked to the center. "I am Gai-su, leader of the Vorax," it said in a soft voice. "We have come to address the council about the incident with the human ship." Jae-sung felt his body tense. He hadn't expected the Vorax to show up here. Jae-su continued, "We apologize for the actions of our patrol ships. They were overzealous in their duties. We request that the council allow us to inspect the human vessel to ensure no lasting damage was done." Eunji stepped forward, her eyes flashing. "Inspect. Your ships attacked a council outpost. If anyone should be inspected, it's you." The room erupted in shouts and arguments. Some agreed with Eunji, while others thought letting the Vorax inspect the Thunderbolt might help keep peace. Taeho raised all 4 of his arms, calling for quiet. "Perhaps a compromise. We could send a mixed team, Vorax, council members, and humans, to inspect both the outpost and the Thunderbolt." Before anyone could respond, Jae-sung stepped forward. He felt all eyes turn to him as he spoke. "With all due respect," he said, keeping his voice calm, "the Thunderbolt is an Earth ship. We're willing to share our technology with the Council, but we won't submit to inspections from those who attacked us without cause." The room went silent. Many aliens looked surprised. They weren't used to newcomers standing up to older, more powerful races. Jae-su's large eyes blinked slowly. "You refuse our generous offer. This could be seen as hostile." Jae-sung stood his ground. "There's nothing hostile about protecting our ship and crew. We came in peace, and we've proven our goodwill. We ask for the same respect in return." The tension in the room was thick. No one knew what would happen next. Would this lead to a fight, or would the Council support the humans? Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the station. A voice came over the speakers. Alert! Unknown ships approaching at high speed. All vessels prepare for possible conflict. In the confusion that followed, Jae-sung noticed something odd. Gai-su didn't look surprised or worried. Instead, a small smile played on its thin lips. As Jae-sung rushed out to return to the Thunderbolt, he couldn't shake a bad feeling. Something bigger was happening here. The Vorax, the Council debate, this new threat, it all felt connected somehow. Whatever was coming, Jae-sung knew one thing for sure. The Thunderbolt and its crew would be ready to face it. The alarms kept ringing as Captain Jae-sung Kim ran through the crowded halls of the space station. Aliens of all kinds were rushing around. Some scared, others excited. Jae-sung had only one goal: get back to the Thunderbolt. As he turned a corner, he almost ran into Eunji, the human council member. "Captain Kim," she said, out of breath. "The Vorax fleet. They're demanding we hand over the Thunderbolt." Jae-sung's eyes widened. "What? Why?" "They say it's too dangerous to leave in human hands. Some council members agree with them." Before Jae-sung could respond, his communicator beeped. It was Lieutenant Sunmei on the Thunderbolt. "Captain, we're ready for your return. But we have a problem. The station's defensive systems are down." Jae-sung frowned. This was no coincidence. He looked at Eunji. "We need to get to the council chamber. Now." They ran together, pushing through the panicked crowd. When they reached the chamber, they found chaos. Aliens were shouting at each other, some pointing accusing fingers, others huddled in worried groups. In the center stood Gai-su, the Vorax leader. Its sad eyes now looked triumphant. Next to it was Taeho, the four-armed alien who had doubted the humans. Gai-su's voice rose above the noise. "You see, the humans are too dangerous. Their ship could destroy us all. For the safety of the galaxy, they must surrender it to us." Jae-sung stepped forward. "And if we refuse?" The room went quiet. All eyes turned to the human captain. Gai-su's thin lips curved into a smile. "Then we will take it by force. Our fleet stands ready. You have 1 Earth hour to comply, or we attack." Gasps and worried whispers filled the room. Taeho spoke up, his 4 hands moving nervously. Perhaps we should consider their offer." "For peace." Jae-sung shook his head. "This isn't about peace. It's about power. The Vorax don't want to inspect our ship. They want to steal it." "How dare you?" Jae-su hissed, but Jae-sung saw a flicker of fear in its large eyes. Eunji stepped up beside Jae-sung. "The captain is right. We can't give in to threats. The council must stand united." The room erupted in arguments again. Some agreed with the humans, others wanted to give in to the Vorax. The council seemed split. As the debate raged, Jae-sung felt a tap on his shoulder. It was Lieutenant Sunmei. She had snuck into the chamber. "Captain," she whispered, "I have an idea. But it's risky." Jae-sung listened as Sunmei explained her plan. His eyes widened, then he slowly nodded. "It's crazy," he said, "but it just might work." He turned to address the council. "Everyone, please listen." The room quieted down. All eyes were on the human captain. "We won't surrender the Thunderbolt," Jae-sung said firmly. "But we also won't start a war. Instead, we propose a challenge." Murmurs of curiosity spread through the crowd. Even Gai-su looked interested. "The Vorax say they're worried about the Thunderbolt's power. So let's test it. We challenge the Vorax to a space race. Their best ship against the Thunderbolt. Through the Nebula of Storms." Gasps filled the room. The Nebula of Storms was a dangerous area of space, full of electrical storms and hidden asteroids. Few ships dared to enter it. "If we win," Jae-sung continued, "the Vorax leave us and the council alone. If they win, we'll submit to their inspection." Jae-su's eyes narrowed. "You would risk your precious ship?" Jae-sung stood tall. "We trust our ship and our crew. Do you trust yours?" The council chamber buzzed with excitement. Many aliens nodded approval at the idea. It was a fair challenge, and it would avoid war. Taeho spoke up, his voice thoughtful. "This is an interesting proposal. The council will need to discuss it." Jaisu looked around the room. It could see it was losing support. Finally, it nodded. "Very well. We accept your challenge, human. Prepare to lose your ship." As the council members started to debate the details of the race, Jae-sung turned to Sunmi. "Good idea, Lieutenant. But now we have to win this race." Sunmi grinned. "Don't worry, Captain. I have a few more ideas about that." Jae-sung nodded. He knew the real challenge was just beginning, but for the first time since the crisis started, he felt hope. The Thunderbolt and its crew were about to show the galaxy what humans could really do. The Thunderbolt floated in space, its dark hull gleaming in the light of distant stars. Next to it, the Vorax ship looked like a sharp, dangerous knife. Both ships waited at the edge of the nebula of storms. Inside the Thunderbolt, Captain Jae-sung Kim looked at his crew. Their faces were serious but determined. "Remember the plan," he said. "This isn't just a race. It's a fight for Earth's future in space." Lieutenant Sunmi nodded from her seat at the controls. "We're ready, Captain." A voice crackled over the radio. It was Taeho, the four-armed alien from the council. "The race will begin on my mark. May the best ship win." Jae-sung took a deep breath. "Here we go," he whispered. 3, 2, 1, go." Both ships shot forward into the nebula. Immediately, they were surrounded by swirling clouds of colorful gas. Lightning flashed all around them. "Shields at maximum," called out Ensign Minji. "We're holding steady." The Vorax ship was fast. It zoomed ahead, weaving through the gas clouds with ease. "They know this place well," said Sunmi, frowning. Jae-sung nodded. "But we have a few tricks up our sleeve." "Activate the sensor array." Sunmi pressed a button. Hidden panels on the Thunderbolt's hull slid open, revealing advanced sensors. These were a secret weapon the humans had developed. "I'm mapping the nebula," said Minji, her eyes on her screen. "I can see safe paths through the storms." Jae-sung smiled. "Good. Sunmi, follow her directions." The Thunderbolt began to move more confidently. It caught up to the Vorax ship, then started to pass it. Suddenly, a massive lightning bolt struck near them. The Thunderbolt shook, but its shields held. "The Vorax ship is damaged," shouted Minji. "They're falling behind." But Jae-sung's relief was short-lived. A rain of asteroids appeared in front of them, hidden until now by the gas clouds. "Evasive maneuvers," he ordered. Sunmi's hands flew over the controls. The Thunderbolt twisted and turned, narrowly missing the rocky obstacles. The Vorax ship wasn't so lucky. They saw it get hit by a small asteroid, spinning out of control. "Should we help them?" asked Minji. Jae-sung hesitated. The Vorax were their enemies, but leaving them to die didn't feel right. "Yes," he decided. "Prepare the tractor beam." The Thunderbolt turned back. Using its advanced technology, it locked onto the damaged Vorax ship and pulled it to safety. As they exited the nebula together, Jae-sung saw hundreds of ships waiting for them. The entire Galactic Council had come to watch the race. The radio crackled again. This time, it was Gai-su, the Vorax leader. Its voice sounded shocked. You saved us." "Why?" Jae-sung replied simply, "Because it was the right thing to do." There was a long pause. Then Gai-su spoke again, its voice softer. "We may have misjudged you, humans." The council ships erupted in cheers and flashing lights. The Thunderbolt had won the race and shown the true spirit of humanity. As they docked with the main council station, Jae-sung saw aliens of all kinds waiting to greet them. Many looked excited, some even awestruck. Eunji, the human council member, was the first to speak. Captain Kim, you and your crew have done more than win a race. You've won the respect of the entire galaxy. Taeho stepped forward, all four of his arms raised in a gesture of respect. I was wrong about humans, he admitted. You are not just powerful. You are also kind and honorable. Even Gaisu approached, looking humbled. The Vorax withdraw all demands against you. We would be honored to learn from humans, not fight them. Jae-sung felt a warmth in his chest. This was why they had come to space, not to show off their power, but to make friends and help others. As the celebrations began, Jae-sung looked at his crew. They were tired but happy. They had faced a great challenge and come out stronger. The Thunderbolt had proven itself, but more importantly, humanity had shown its true colors to the galaxy. It was the dawn of a new era, full of possibilities. And whatever challenges lay ahead, Jae-sung knew that humans would face them with courage, skill, and compassion. The days following the great race were a whirlwind for Captain Jae-sung Kim and his crew. The Galactic Council station buzzed with activity. Aliens from all corners of the galaxy wanted to meet the humans who had won the race and save their enemies. Jae-sung stood in a large meeting room, surrounded by council members. Yeon-ji, the human representative, stood beside him, beaming with pride. Captain Kim, said Taeho, the four-armed alien, the council has voted. We would like to offer Earth a permanent seat on the Galactic Council. A cheer went up from the gathered aliens. Jae-sung felt a lump in his throat. This was a huge honor, one that usually took centuries to achieve. We are honored, he said, bowing slightly. Earth will do its best to be a worthy member of the Council. As the celebration continued, Jae-sung noticed Gaisu, the Vorax leader, standing quietly in a corner. The captain made his way over to the alien. Gaisu, he said, I hope there are no hard feelings about the race. The Vorax looked at him with its large, sad eyes. No, Captain. In fact, I owe you an apology. And a warning. Jae-sung frowned. A warning? What do you mean? Gaisu glanced around nervously, then leaned in close. The attack on the outpost, the challenge to your ship, it wasn't my idea. We were forced to do it. Forced? By who? I can't say more here, Jaisu whispered. But be careful. Not everyone in the council is happy about Earth's rise to power. Before Jae-sung could ask more questions, Gaisu slipped away into the crowd. The captain's mind raced. What did this mean? Who could be behind it all? His thoughts were interrupted by Lieutenant Sunmei, who approached with a worried look on her face. Captain, she said quietly, I've been analyzing the data from our race through the nebula. Something doesn't add up. What do you mean? Jae-sung asked. Sunmei pulled out a small device and showed him a series of numbers and graphs. The Vorax ship's movements, they weren't trying to win. It's like they were deliberately falling behind, letting us pass them. Jae-sung's eyes widened. Are you saying the race was fixed? Sunmei nodded. It looks that way. But why would they do that? The captain thought back to Gaisu's warning. I think, he said slowly, that the Vorax might not be our real enemy. Just then, Ensign Minju rushed up to them, out of breath. Captain, Lieutenant, you need to see this. She led them to a quiet corner and showed them her datavat. On it was a recording from the Thunderbolt sensors during the race. It showed a small, strange object attaching itself to their hull just as they entered the nebula. What is that? Jae-sung asked, squinting at the screen. I think it's a tracking device, Minji said. But it's like nothing I've ever seen before. The technology is, well, it's beyond even our level. Jae-sung felt a chill run down his spine. Someone had used the race as a cover to plant a device on their ship. But who? And why? He looked around the room at the celebrating aliens. Somewhere among them could be the real threat. The race wasn't the end of their challenges. It was just the beginning. Keep this quiet for now, he told Sunmei and Minji. We need to investigate further without alerting whoever is behind this. As his crew nodded and moved away, Jae-sung's mind was already planning their next moves. The Thunderbolt had proven its power to the galaxy. Now it was time to use that power to uncover the truth. He watched as Eun-ji chatted happily with other council members, unaware of the danger. Earth had won its place in the galactic community. But at what cost? And what battles still lay ahead? Jae-sung straightened his uniform. Whatever was coming, he and his crew would be ready. The adventure was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. A week had passed since the Great Race. The HSS Thunderbolt floated in space, docked at the Galactic Council Station. Inside, Captain Jae-sung Kim sat in his office, looking at reports on his screen. His face was serious. There was a knock at the door. "Come in," Jae-sung called. Lieutenant Sun Mai and Ensign Minji entered. They looked excited. "Captain," Sun Mai said, "we've finished our investigation of the tracking device." Jae-sung leaned forward. "What did you find?" Minji placed a small object on his desk. It looked like a shiny metal bug. "The device is incredibly advanced. It's not Vorax technology. In fact, it's not like anything in the Council's database." Jae-sung frowned. "So we're dealing with an unknown race." "Not exactly," Sun Mai said. "We found something strange when we took it apart. Look at this." She showed him a picture on her datapad. Inside the device was a tiny symbol. It looked like a tree with many branches. Jae-sung's eyes widened. "I've seen that before. It was on some of the council members' badges." "Exactly," Sun Mai nodded. "We think this device was made by a secret group within the council itself." The captain sat back, his mind racing. A secret group in the council, with technology beyond even the most advanced races. What were they planning? Just then, his communicator beeped. It was Eun-ji, the human council member. "Captain Kim, please come to the main council chamber immediately. It's important." Jae-sung looked at his crew. "Let's go, but be ready for anything." They walked quickly through the station's halls. Aliens of all kinds nodded respectfully as they passed. The humans' reputation had grown enormously since the race. In the council chamber, they found a tense scene. Eun-ji stood in the center, facing Taeho and several other council members. Gai-su, the Vorax leader, was there too, looking nervous. "Ah, Captain Kim," Taeho said as they entered. "We were just discussing Earth's new role in the council." Jae-sung noticed some of the council members wore badges with the tree symbol. He kept his face neutral. "What seems to be the problem?" Eun-ji spoke up. "Some council members think Earth is advancing too quickly. They want to limit our involvement." One of the alien council members, a tall being with crystal-like skin, stepped forward. "It's not personal, Captain, but your ship's power makes many of us uncomfortable." Jae-sung saw Gai-su shift uneasily. He remembered the Vorax leader's warning. Was this the threat he had mentioned? The captain took a deep breath. It was time to take a risk. "Council members," he said, his voice strong and clear. "I understand your concerns, but I think there's something you should know." He nodded to Sun Mai, who projected an image of the tracking device for all to see. "This was found on our ship after the race. It's far more advanced than any known technology, and it bears this symbol." He pointed to the tree image. The room erupted in shocked whispers. The crystal-skinned alien stepped back, looking alarmed. Jae-sung continued. "We believe a secret group within the council is working against us, perhaps against all of us. They tried to use the Vorax to steal our ship. When that failed, they planted this device." Jaisu suddenly spoke up. "It's true. They forced us to challenge the humans. They threatened our homeworld if we didn't comply." The council members looked at each other in shock and confusion. Taeho's 4 arms waved in agitation. "If this is true," he said, "then we face a grave threat from within. We must investigate immediately." Eun-ji stepped forward. "And we need to stand together. Humans, Vorax, and all council races. Only united can we face this threat. The room was quiet for a moment. Then, slowly, the council members began to nod in agreement. Jae-sung felt a weight lift from his shoulders. The truth was out. Now they could face the real enemy together. As the council began to plan their investigation, Jae-sung turned to his crew. "Good work, everyone. But our job isn't over. The Thunderbolt and its crew need to be ready. We've proven ourselves in peace and in competition. Now we might need to prove ourselves in battle." Sun Mai and Minji nodded, their faces determined. Outside the station's windows, the stars shone brightly. Somewhere out there, a hidden enemy waited. But Earth was no longer alone. They had allies now, and a place in the galactic community. Whatever challenges lay ahead, Jae-sung knew one thing for certain. Humanity's adventure among the stars was just beginning, and the HSS Thunderbolt would lead the way.